All right, we're on. A couple minutes early, but you know what? I'd rather be early than late, right? There we go. Starting to see a couple people pop on now. Hello, everyone. There we go. I don't know where everyone is in the world, but it's actually noon about here. Actually, technically, anyone who's saying good morning is probably accurately correct for the next 2 minutes or so. It's 11:58 right now. There we go. Colorado, Alabama. That's cool. San Antonio. There we go. Texas people. More Texas people. Anaheim, I know that place. Used to live pretty close to there. Rainy Ohio. I wish it was raining here. They're saying maybe tonight, but it's like 30% tonight and 40% tomorrow and all that. And I don't know. We'll see what happens. Still waiting for some friends to check in from over on the other side of the pond here. Considering that's why I'm doing this here. There we go. There's a UK person. Hello, Alex. Doing well, doing well. All right, glad you made it. New Zealand. All right, that's cool. I was actually gonna thinking about doing another one geared towards like Australia, New Zealand, and Asia because they're all kind of in the same time zone area. But appreciate you getting up at 5 a.m. anyway. That's nice. Tennessee. All right, yeah, getting all over the U.S. That's cool. Georgia, Vegas. Yeah, well, I figured I kind of owed you a little something. I mean, you guys are watching and all that, so if I can do something to help you make it a little easier so you don't have to get up at like 2 in the morning to participate in one of these, you know what? You guys are worth it. Bite and Nibble are doing okay. Bite was just down taking a nap with me a little bit ago, but the second I got up, he ran back upstairs, so probably won't see him. I don't know. Maybe he'll hear the commotion down here and come down and visit. We'll see. Stranger things have happened. Yeah, I called it European live stream because it was for our friends primarily in Europe. Now, like I said, anyone can stop by and say hi, but I wanted to kind of set it up for a more friendly time for them. You can come and visit obviously anywhere in the world, but I didn't want it to always be at like 2 in the morning for our friends in Europe. Do I play any instruments? No, I do not. At least none that I want to admit to. Let's just put it that way. Yuma, Arizona. All right, very good. Yeah, yeah, I figured that, Gene. When I saw your estimate about it being 2 o'clock, it's like, well, she's right. It's 2 hours, but we went 2 hours the wrong way. So yeah, it's 10 o'clock in California. If I'm 2 hours ahead of you, that means you need to subtract 2 hours to get back to your time. Have I visited the Cameron Zoo? No, I have not. Like I said, I may do a little touristy things from time to time, but my vlog is going to have a little different feel to it, a little different theme than Jordan's does. Revenge of the Nerds. Were you watching the movie or watching the vlog? Will it be a while before I'm buying a property? The reason I went into an apartment initially was because I didn't want to be anchored down to one place specifically, just in case the job didn't work out and I found something else different. I didn't want to be anchored into a house, so I decided to stick with an apartment because if I find something else, then I can move very easily and wait until I find something that I do like and do want to stay with. That is a Texas flag behind me. Yes, we've had a little debate in the past about which way it goes. Apparently, I had it flipped this way, so the white stripe was on this side, not on this side. And one of my viewers pointed out that it was wrong, and actually pointed me to a official source that confirmed that what he said was right. So, you know what? If it's wrong, I'll correct it. I don't want people to not be able to recognize what that is just because I put the flag on backwards. So thank you. I'm glad you like the house in California. I spent like 6 months getting that thing ready to sell, and 22 years getting it to the way I wanted it. So I had just about gotten it where I wanted it, and then I had to leave. So that's the way it goes. Yeah, this is the show that totally blew me away when they told me that this was the showcase apartment of the whole complex. It's like, wow, yeah, a number of people have been saying that I should try and get a job as a handyman around here. I absolutely don't want to do that if that's if my apartment is a showcase. I can't imagine what some of those other places look like. They got to be disasters. Yeah, I'm glad you enjoy the Fix It vlogs. They're kind of fun to do. I got another one I'm going to probably do today. It's going to be some simple stuff. I think no electricity today. Just a couple things I've noticed that need to be worked on. I noticed one of the towel hangers and one of the towel racks in the bathroom downstairs isn't attached to the wall very well. And I spent about 30 seconds looking at it a couple nights ago and couldn't figure it out initially. So I decided, you know what, I'll spend a little bit more time. I think what's going on is there's this little latch behind that the towel rack itself clamps onto, and I think they may have used the wrong latch. Yeah, so I don't know. We'll probably. I think if I put a couple washers behind the screws between the latch and the wall, I think that'll help. So we're going to try that today. See what happens. Yeah, I mean, Jordan mentioned at one point that he saw all sorts of problems when the day I moved in, and the truth is, I saw them too, but I didn't see anything that I thought was like really, really dangerous. Just poor workmanship. And I've had to deal with a few things. The issue with the toilet a few weeks ago, that was, obviously a crucial issue because it wasn't just that one toilet that was a problem. There was a clog in the sewer line somewhere, and if I used the toilets upstairs, um, you know, it caused a mess downstairs. So I guess we're glad that whatever the problem was, the water level never rose to the point where stuff was coming out of the toilet and actually coming out onto the floor. It just would bubble back up into the toilet, and it was kind of gross. So I didn't use that toilet for a while. But everything seems to be working now well. I think just probably like a root or something got into the sewer line, and then other things got clogged up in there, and it just kind of went downhill from there. One thing I'll say that has been a benefit to all of this disaster is when I do move into a house, I'm going to have a far better idea of what I should be looking at. Um, so I'll be able to do a really probably a more serious inspection of the place and know where the problem areas are right off the bat. Am I done with the pods? I'm done with two of them. I still have one more. There were three of them in total. The first one I loaded was back in January, and that one still is filled up. But hopefully, in the next week or so, we'll do something and get those unloaded, and we won't deal with pods anymore, right? Yeah, I don't know exactly what I'm going to look for. It's got to be something comparable size wise to what I had in California. I think I want to go with a single story building this time rather than two stories. I'm getting to the point where I'm at that age now where I could fall and that could really be a problem. And when I'm living alone, the cats aren't going to do anything except just kind of look at me and laugh if I fall. So we'll see. But I want to find something comparable size because I don't really. I've got rid of what I need, and so or gotten rid of what I don't need. So we'll see. What I'd really like to see is like a big garage because I do some like woodwork and stuff like that. Um, and so it'd be nice to be able to keep my car in the garage and still be working. I had a two-car garage in the California house, and anytime I did anything, even a reasonably sizable project, I had to move the car out and kind of rearrange everything in the garage to make room. I had it kind of set up so that when I did work on something, I could move a couple things that were on wheels, and I'd have like access to like 80% of the floor space of the garage. So it was about as efficiently set up as I could do, but it would be nice if I could have like, two-car garage space just for the work area and then maybe a third car spot for the car. So I don't know. That'll be one of the things we look at. I'd also like to see. I'd also like to see some, property. That was always a big problem. I had one of the bigger yards in my community, but it still wasn't big enough. And my parents would bring over a plant, and they wouldn't have any place to put it. So you know, yeah, you're right. They probably won't laugh at me. They'll probably eat me once the food warms up, runs out. I have thought about getting some chickens. That would be kind of fun too. Getting some, good, getting some eggs every day. I love eggs, and you know, chickens are good for like keeping insects under control. They're ravenous bug eaters. So thanks. I'm glad you like my vlog. I enjoy doing them. The truth is, if it wasn't for you guys watching and commenting and giving all the positive feedback, I probably wouldn't still be doing them. But the fact that you guys are giving me so much feedback and so much love and appreciation, it makes it a lot easier to do. And I'm getting to the point now where it's like, oh, hey, I got to film this. This would be good for the vlog. So I think that was kind of the path that Jordan did too. Is it took him a little while to kind of figure out what he did, what he wanted to do, and then once he got to the point where he did know what he wanted to do, he just got better and better at it. I will bring Flash to Texas. Right now, I have like a little postage stamp of a backyard, and there'd be too much danger of her either falling off the concrete and ending up on her back, which would kill her, or just not having any place to go. And she likes to kind of get out there and move around. You wouldn't think that a tortoise would be that fast, but she kind of moves around quite a bit. So I wouldn't want to leave her in a little place where, hey, I'll walk from one end of the yard to the other end of the yard in 30 seconds. Now I got to turn around and walk back again. Um, In terms of the golf clubs, they were purchased for me by one of my bosses a number of years ago. And I use them from time to time. I don't go golfing that much, but when I do enjoy it. What if my dad gets attached to Flash? Well, I don't think that'll happen. He likes her, but he understands who she belongs to, and he she used to live in their yard for a number of years before I got my own place and moved her over here. So we've had her for like I don't know 30, 35 years. She's been around for a long time because it's been in it's going on 30 years now since I moved out of my parents' house, and she was there probably 5 or 10 years before that. So does my family like my vlogging? Yeah, they say they're watching it. I don't think my parents have a YouTube account, so I don't ever see comments from them. But they do see. But they do comment. From time to time, I get a text message from them saying that they're watching. So, that's probably good. And my mom had a little difficult time dealing with the fact that I was moving away. I'd always been kind of within driving distance of her, and I kind of figured that when I moved away, uh, that I'd be getting a lot more telephone calls. But I think seeing these vlogs is kind of helping her keep in touch with me, and so you know I think they're watching. They talk about it from time to time. Yeah. Well, yeah, you're right. Moms always kind of feel a little sad. My father, I think he had a little issue with it too, but he was a little bit better at hiding it, and he's been supportive, from the beginning. My mom was coming around. She's. I think initially when I first talked about it, she was really against it, and she kind of thought I was abandoning her. But she realized that I needed something else. California just wasn't working out for me. Um, so I really liked my house, but I couldn't afford it anymore. Yeah, you're right, Jenny. Babies are always babies to moms, no matter how old they get. Yeah, Flash is a tortoise. It's not a dog. She's a tortoise. I've had her for about 30 years. I think she's probably about 60 years old, and I suspect she may outlive me. We'll see. Probably have to deal with her in my will at some point. All right, am I wearing slippers? Yes, I am actually wearing the slippers. Yeah, yeah. Flash, like I said, Flash will probably live for a long time. I don't know exactly how old she is, but I kind of suspect that the individual segments on her shells are like the rings on a tree, where if you count the rings, you can figure out how old they are. And a number of years ago, I shot a really high resolution photo of one of her shell segments, and went in with a computer, and that's what I saw at the time. This was like 10 or 15 years ago, so I saw like 50 or 55 segments. So she's ancient. Like I said, she's the oldest pet I've ever had. Never had a pet that has been around as long as she has. So thanks. I'm glad you follow both myself and Jordan. I'm really honored that you guys watch me, day after day, and I love reading your comments and all that. I do read them all. Did I break some etiquette rule by figuring out how old Flash is because she's a woman? Is that the issue? Yeah, like I said, the kitties are probably upstairs napping. I was just taking a quick nap on my chair over here a few minutes ago, and Bite came down and just kind of laid down on my chest and took a nap with me. So, have I liked the Elvis vlogs? The truth is, I am way behind on Jordan's vlogs. I still am not through the Texas trip yet. So, I do that from time to time. I get like way behind, and then I like binge watch for a few days and catch up. How did I choose Texas? I basically I wanted something that was different from California. I've lived in California all my life. I wanted a political environment that was different. I wanted a a people environment that was different. I wanted a job environment that was different, and Texas just seemed the most different that I could get. Plus the fact that I got tired of living in California because there's just really no weather there. There's it's you have kind of a cooler season and a hot season and a windy season and a fire season. And I wanted to see a little rain. I love it when it rains. Yeah. Well, we'll see if my mom reads that. Thanks, Robin. I don't know if my parents actually watch the live streams because I don't know if they get that much out of it. My mom basically consumes all of her social media on a pad, and my father's more of a computer kind of guy, but I suspect they probably both sit down together and watch it on my mom's pad. Yeah, California, like I said, it's a nice place to live in, but I don't know. It's really kind of turned into an ugly place in the last few years too. I don't know exactly what's going on there, but the homeless encampments are everywhere, and there just doesn't seem to be any intention to try and do anything to improve the situation. Like I said, one of the reasons I came here is I just like the weather. I wanted to see something, get some seasons. It actually snows here occasionally, and it rains a lot and all that. Yeah, a lot of people can't afford to live in California. What about the work situation? That's going to start very quickly now that I have all my documentation. Like I said, the one last thing I really want to do before I go uh, start looking for a job is I want to get that last pod emptied out, and hopefully I'm going to get that done this week. It's going to be a hot week this week, so I don't know. We'll see. But we got a couple of days of rain coming up over the next few days, so we'll see if we actually get any rain out of that. It'd be nice. Yeah, yeah, I hear it rains a lot in the UK. Well, if you like rain, Washington State, I guess, is probably a good place to go. Yeah, it gets a little hot here in Texas and a little humid here in Texas, and some of the insects are so big they can carry you away. But uh, why did I pick Waco? I picked Waco because I didn't really want to live in a larger city. I'd considered Dallas, Fort Worth initially, but I've lived in and around LA all my life, and I kind of guess I kind of wanted a more of a small town kind of environment. Waco is more like that. It's big enough where there's some industry here, but still small enough where the people are really nice. David Koresh compound. That is on the opposite side of town from me. Uh, I thought initially I might go visit them, but I've heard recently that the Branch Davidians still occupy the site, so they're probably not that receptive to having visitors. So, unless I could actually go into the property and look at it, Um, I don't know if it would be that great of a vlog. If I'm going to do something, I want to do something that's interesting to me, and that would be interesting, but not as interesting if I'm just sitting at the gate pointing in. That gets a little boring. There we go. There's somebody from the UK. Hi, Jane. Hey, Jane. I haven't seen Jordan on here, and I don't know if by me setting him up as a moderator last time, if he's always a moderator or not, or if it's something I have to do every time. Sometimes, Jordan will text me ahead of time and says, so what time are you going on? I don't know. Maybe he forgot about this one, or maybe he may be out doing his own vlog today. So, yeah, no, the Branch Davidians are still there, I guess. That's what I've heard, at least. There we go. There's somebody from London. Thanks. I'm glad you're watching my vlogs. I've been really pleased to see that, all the new people that came in, like in the last week or so, have been going back and watching from the beginning because, initially my first 20 or 30 episodes, were, just kind of hovering at 300 or 400 views each. Now, it's clear that people are going back to the beginning and watching them because I'm starting to get comments on the earlier ones and the view counts are starting to go up. Wow, Australia. Yeah, I was thinking about doing one geared more towards that. Get up at like maybe 7 in the morning, so it's not 3:30 in the morning there or whatever. Or do one maybe late in the evening, so it's early morning for you guys. So I appreciate you stopping in at 3:30 in the morning. That's amazing. London calling. All right. Don't mess with Texas. You're right. I know. I've been laughing about that too. There's a Beverly Hills real close to me in Waco, Texas. I always kind of laugh when I see the sign. I was commenting with Jordan when we were driving through Texas on my way here. Is that there's a lot of like cities in California that are also cities here in Texas that I wasn't aware that they did that. Yeah, I know weapons and child abuse are bad things, but burning everyone alive, I don't know if that was maybe the right solution. Yeah, 139 people. That's pretty cool. I haven't seen any trolls yet. That's cool. Ireland. All right. Very nice. Yeah, I don't know. Did I miss a troll now? Yeah, you're right. Trolls don't matter. Just ignore them. That's kind of the approach I'm doing. I either ignore them or just block them right off the bat. If you engage them, that's really what they want. They just want the attention. Jordan sent me a couple of examples of this one troll, the one that he was most concerned about for me. And I kind of looked in. Basically, I got a message from him. He wondered why Jordan had blocked him. Pretend like he didn't know who Jordan was, but then I went and looked at his site, and all of his videos are just him trolling other people, trolling Adam the Roof, trolling Carpetbagger, and he had like half a dozen videos of him trolling Jordan. So he called, he texted in or questioned why it was I had deleted him and pretended like he didn't even know who Jordan was. So yeah, I knew that was. I just basically blocked him at that point too. You don't engage them. That's just what they want. They're pathetic losers. Have I seen Jordan's vlogs on Elvis? I have not. I am still a little bit behind on vlogging. I'm just getting to the end of the Texas trip. That's how far behind I am. That often happens. I'll get way behind, and then like I'll binge watch for a while and catch up. Honestly, what I did when I chose Waco, I knew I wanted it to be Texas. I kind of didn't think I wanted to move into like a big city like Dallas or Fort Worth or even like Austin. I wanted to, or Houston or any of the other big cities. I wanted to, I have family in Minnesota that lives in small towns, and I've always really kind of liked the small town feel. I've even visited, where Jordan lived, and I love that. I love that kind of. I've lived in a big city all my life, and I just kind of like the idea of a small town feel. And Waco is big enough to have everything you need, but still small enough to have that kind of small town feel. And the truth is, I came out here in, I don't know, January or something, right after the new year, to kind of figure out where I wanted to be. And I had like half a dozen cities I wanted to look at. I was looking at Rockwall, which is just a little east of Dallas. I was looking at um, a couple other cities, and I was also looking at Waco. Basically, what I did is I just went on Google Maps and looked for reasonably sized cities, and look for ones that looked like they had a lot of business. And it was, Waco kind of won out. And I visited all of them during the time I was here in January, and Waco had some really nice houses and really good prices, and it was a big enough city, so you had what you want. You could find, grocery stores and restaurants and all that stuff, gas stations. But small enough still, so it still kind of has that small town feel to it. Rockwall, yeah, Rockwall. It's Rockwall, I think. Uh, maybe there's a Rockwell too, but Rockwall, is just right. Like I said, it's just east of Dallas. It's actually very close to the apartment or the hotel I stayed in. So it was literally just right across the lake from where I was staying because I was, just hanging out in a hotel for about a week while I was here. Yeah, I really, really like Texas. It's I've said it in one of my vlogs. Texas, the people just really, really nice here. You'll just have a total stranger walk up to you and say, "Hi, how are you doing? Have a nice day." I was at Home Depot the other day buying something. As I walked away, the salesperson that rung me up at the end said, "Have a blessed day." You'd never hear that in California, probably because if you did said that to the wrong person, you'd get attacked. So it's just I think the people are just kind of more like who I am. Very just they want to just they want to be nice because that's the way you do it. So much better if you do that. Yeah, lots of history to explore in Texas. Yeah, that's another thing too. There's a lot of stuff that's happened here. I might go visit the Alamo at some point because that would be fun to see. There's some interesting geology, and I love that in Texas, so I might check that. And of course, we went and visited the Mammoth Museum recently, and that was a lot of fun. I love stuff like that. So Yeah, maybe I can. If I go to the Alamo, maybe I can see if I can find the basement. Maybe Pee Wee's bike is still there. That's right. I made a Pee Wee Herman joke. I'm not sure exactly where it is. I'll have to go figure that out. One of the problems with Texas is it's so big. So if you're in one end of the state and you want to go to the other end of the state, it might take you 2, 3 days to get there. Half the time that Jordan and I spent on the trip, you know, was going through Texas. Now, granted, we were zigzagging around the state a lot to get here because, we do the Texas Chainsaw Massacre and the Roy Orbison and all that stuff, and that was kind of all over the state. But yeah, yeah, a lot of times, monuments like the Alamo are filled with kitschy shops and stuff like that. But whatever. Disneyland's that way too. Well, that's cool. If Jordan doesn't want to go there, then that's fine. I think a lot of times Jordan decides he doesn't want to go places if a million people have already vlogged it. He likes doing vlogs where there isn't a lot of stuff on there. I know some of his most favorite vlogs are the ones where he goes and looks around and can't find anybody that did anything. I think that was one of the reasons he was so excited about doing that "Can't Buy Me Love" vlog when we were on the Texas trip, is because he looked around the internet and there was nothing. Yeah, yeah, that's a perfect example. Orange, Texas to El Paso, Texas, 865 miles. That's a big, big state. California is a big state too, but only end to end. You can go from the coast to the Nevada border in a few hours. But if you go from like San Diego up to the northern border, it's going to take you 2 days to do that. Well, Texas is 3 Californias next to each other. So yeah, it's a huge, huge state. Yeah, it's easy to get lost. I still get lost around here, get twisted around and have to resort back to the GPS to find my way home. One of the things that makes things confusing here in Texas, they have a lot of one-way roads, and so you want to go that way, but the road only goes that way, and it's frustrating. Or they'll have a divided highway where there's a big median in the middle, and need to go that way, but you got to drive 5 miles that way to find a place to turn around and go back. I went out to the local uh, Walmart yesterday to get a new DVD player. My old one kind of gave up the ghost, and they have some construction going on there that makes it really kind of a pain in the neck to get there because it slows everything down because I got a couple of lanes all blocked up. So I decided to cut through a Lowe's parking lot and get out and try and cross over that way. And even that was kind of a pain in the neck because once I got onto the road going this way to get into I had to go back to the traffic light where all the congestion was to do the U-turn to get over the median. So yeah, I'm guessing that'll be a less of an issue as I become more familiar with the place. Nearest big city, I think, would be Dallas, and that's about 70 or so miles north of here. It's close enough that I can get there, but far enough that it hasn't polluted this area yet. Duck butter. I have never heard of duck butter. I don't know. Right at the start, it doesn't sound that appetizing, but you never know. Sushi doesn't sound that appetizing when they tell you what it is, but it's yummy. Yeah, in terms of shutting off the electricity, you're right. I need to set a better example on that because while technically it is true that You can work on live circuits if you know what you're doing and know what not to touch. Showing that to a bunch of people who don't necessarily know all that stuff, it could be dangerous. I guess my thoughts were that, a lot of people are afraid of electricity because they don't understand it that well. And so it seemed to me that if I, kind of showed you that maybe you don't have to be totally afraid of it and can actually work on it and actually touch a wire that's live and not get electrocuted, that's maybe a good thing. But I think maybe overdid it a little bit. So in the future, I would, when I'm working on electricity, I will kill the power. Like I said, I tracked everything down yesterday, so I know how to shut off all of the breakers, and I know which breakers to shut off to work on a particular thing. Yeah, electricity. I mean, a little healthy fear of it, breeds respect. Oh, hey, Bite, you're down here. You gonna come visit me? Come here, buddy. Come visit. People want to see you. Come here. Meow. Come on. Come up here. Come on. No? Gonna go hide behind the couch? Yeah, well, maybe we'll talk him into coming up here. I didn't know he was behind the couch. I thought he went up to his room. Usually if you give him a little attention, though, he'll be really timid initially, and but then he'll start becoming starved for the attention. Right now he's at my feet letting me pet him, so let me see if I can get him up here. Yeah, there he is. There's my buddy. Bite, meet the world. World, meet Bite. Hey, buddy. Yeah, he's my buddy. Like I said, I wish Nibble was friendly and affectionate like him, but I'm glad he showed up for the live stream. Usually he'd be up napping by now. Look at those eyes. He's tired. Either that or he's just really, really angry. What are you doing to me? Come on, man, put me down. I always loved the fact that he had spots on his feet. I always thought that was kind of cool. I've never seen that really on a cat. He's my buddy, though. But, he's not much of a person for being not much of a cat for being held. He wants the attention, but it's got to be on his terms. Nibble is Bite's sister. She's an orange and white cat. I found them both about the same time. In fact, I'll answer two questions at once. Somebody asked, how old is he? Bite is about 12 years old now. And I found he and his sister when they were about 5 weeks old. And somebody had just, I guess, abandoned them in my backyard. So that was really sad. Where is Pollyanna? Pollyanna, from my understanding, it isn't working out so much for Jordan to bring Joe over to Pollyanna's place anymore because I guess Pollyanna's owners are just their work schedule doesn't allow that so much anymore. So I don't know. I'm guessing things will change. Now I got Bite getting all tangled up in the mouse here. Hang on a second. You crazy cat. Got hung up on the mouse, got it all wrapped around him, and then started pulling. No. Pollyanna belongs to one of Jordan's friends. Come on, Bite. You want to come up here? Yeah, Bite isn't really an issue like that. He's just a little bit antisocial. He doesn't really like to be picked up a whole lot. Like I said, he wants wants attention, but he wants it on his terms. And in one of his terms, he doesn't really like to be picked up. What would be my dream job? At this point in my life, I'd like to. I'm going to move that mouse cord around a little bit so he doesn't keep getting tangled up in it. It would be something I'm worked outside a bunch, so I don't know if I really want to do that at this point. I guess I want to find an indoor job in the air conditioning. where I could, do whatever. It basically, it's just got to be something that's interesting enough to me, and it will pay enough to basically allow me to support myself. Um, so I don't know. I'll find it. I'll know it when I see it. Let's just put it that way. I guess. Okay, that's someone. Do I hate black people? No, I love black people. So all gone. Bye bye. Don't need any of that. Yeah, it's a couple times now the Cameron Zoo has been mentioned. I'll have to check that out. I don't know if I'll vlog it, but I might check it out just for my own interest. Yeah, I got Bite beneath me now, playing Mr. Affectionate here. Basically, what I'm looking for in terms of before I get a job is I just want to get done with the Pods Corporation. Um, so I think probably next week or so, I'm going to try and get that last pod changed or emptied out, and at that point, then I can focus on getting a job. All right, I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna disconnect the mouse here because he keeps getting tangled up in the cord here. I got a touch screen on here, so that'll be a little easier. Yeah, I don't think we need any of that either. Don't need any drug references here. I don't know. They're coming out in droves now. Jordan has a theory that a lot of these guys are the same person. Uh, you know, and I think specifically in the one example that he gave me, there are at least 3 or 4 people that are the same person. And what happens is they get blocked for on one account, and then they end up putting they get blocked on one account and they log in on another account and continue. So whatever. Pennsylvania had a 3.4 earthquake. I guess I missed that one, but I guess that happens from time to time. Yeah, I don't know if Jordan knows exactly how many accounts this troll has, but uh, he's got a number of them. So I have answered the question about why I picked Texas, but you know what? I'll say it again. I basically have been in California my whole life, and I wanted something that was about as different from California as it could get. And Texas, Texas is kind of that place. I also kind of like, getting some seasons. I didn't want to go too far north because, I don't want to go, into into like an area that is frozen solid for like 3 months out of the year. That's a little too much. I wouldn't mind getting a little bit of snow, and I think Texas is going to be the place. But I like the idea that it rains more here than it does in California. California is a desert. I mean, yes, it's hot and humid here, but whatever. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind it if it was a little bit cooler here, but whatever. I have air conditioning. Uh, I guess I prefer warmer climate to cooler climate. I'm fairly new to this YouTube stuff too. I guess the super chat allows you to send money to me if you wanted to do that. I guess I don't know. I think I enabled it, or it's like defaulted to be enabled, but I don't know. Maybe somebody can confirm that. Yeah, that's it. It might just be a trace of snow, but you know what? I wouldn't mind getting a little bit of that, and getting some extreme weather, some heavy rain, even a little hail. That would be kind of fun. Yeah, because as you know, when I hit the 1,000 subscriber mark a few days ago, when Jordan just pushed me over the edge, like way, way, way over the edge. I'm up to like I got enough for like two and a half times the subscriber mark now almost, and supposedly super chat became an option after that. After I did that, and so like I said, I looked there, but I don't know. Maybe I didn't quite do it right. I'll have to look closer next time. I kind of went into the advanced settings, and it looked like maybe it was an option, or like it was turned on, but hasn't. I guess it hasn't. So I'll talk to Jordan about that, and we'll see. Oh yeah, somebody mentioned merch. I actually wanted to show this here. Hang on a second, let me pull it up because I thought it was really funny here. This was a T-shirt that somebody that one of my viewers did, and I think I'm going to probably try and get the image from him and see uh, if he would mind me having the shirt done. I'll send it over to Merch Five, but I thought that was a really funny T-shirt. Basically, he grabbed a picture of me when I was posing with Lou Ferrigno in Vegas about a year ago, and I did my shot. And he grabbed that image and then superimposed, I guess, Leatherface chainsawing through a pod. I thought that was really, really funny. That was such a great image. So I think I'm going to probably try and do something with that at some point, make a T-shirt. I think it's cool, and I showed it to Jordan, and Jordan said, "Yeah, I'd wear one of those." So, yeah, I don't know. I think that's cool. That was why I kept that thing here because I figured, that might come up here, and that was a perfect time to do that. So, did I empty the last pod? No, I've only got two of them unloaded right now. There's three of them. The first one I loaded is the one that still isn't unloaded. So I loaded them in one order, and then I'm unloading them in inverse order. So the third one to load was the one that got dropped off at my house or at my apartment, and that's the one I unloaded. And then last week I unloaded number two. That was, if you watch Jordan's vlog when he covered loading one of the pods, that was the pod that we loaded then. I don't know if I'm really into the title Bracketeers. I don't know. I've heard people say the Breakfast Club. That's kind of funny. I don't really hate that, but yeah, I am having fun doing YouTube. It's I was really concerned at the beginning that it was going to be kind of a difficult thing to do. Especially doing one every day. I told Jordan right at the beginning I didn't think I was going to do one every day, but he said no, you really should do it. That's going to be how you're going to really get the subscribers and push your numbers up. And I mean, he's been right. You know, I'm continuing to take suggestions from him because every suggestion he's made so far has been a fantastic one. It's pushed me way further forward than I ever expected I'd be at this point. I mean, even Jordan's kind of blown away on how fast this is happening. he was commenting that most of my videos were getting 1,000 views, and I've only been doing this for 2 months. He said it was almost a year before that happened to him. So, that's what happens when you have a very successful vlogger friend who's in your corner pushing for you. Yeah, see, that was what Jordan said too. People will stop coming in if they go in too many times and there isn't like a vlog up. It's like they'll kind of give up on you at some point. So I don't know. I'm seeing a strange button on my screen right now. It has a little dollar sign on it. I roll over it and it says, apparently I can insert an ad. Yeah, I'm not gonna do anything about that. Yeah, carpetbagger. Apparently, this troll that I was battling with the other day, that Jordan actually ended up going after. That was the same one that was going after carpetbagger, and that's the one that Jordan thinks has, a whole bunch of accounts, and when one gets blocked, he just moves to another. You know, so I don't know. Like I said, when I a couple days ago, he commented on one of my videos and complained that somebody named Jordan the Lion had blocked him from me on my account, and how horrible he thought that was. And just for yucks, I went over and looked at his account, and all of his videos are just him attacking other vloggers, attacking Carpetbagger, attacking Adam, attacking Jordan. And I knew he knew who Jordan was because he had like 5 or 6 videos of him trolling Jordan. You know, he refers to all of Jordan's fans as lion farts. It's like, oh, come on, give me a break. That isn't even funny. It's just childish. Yeah, that's it. Some people, they just, they see somebody else that is, doing well on their vlogs, and they're jealous that they can't do it. I looked at this guy. He'd been vlogging for a long time and had, 100 or 200 subscribers, and on average 50 or 100 views per video. That's just, I'm blown away when I log on to my video an hour after I posted it, and there's already 300 or 400 people have watched it. And it's funny, within usually a minute of the video going up, I'll have 3 or 4 of you watching it. So you guys are all really, doing so much to make this possible. I'm so grateful to all of you. Have I cooked anything good yet? Yeah, I went out and got a little bit of stuff. Just some of the basic necessities. I got some pork for pork chops and some hamburger meat and some hot dogs and stuff like that. It's a little hard right now because a lot of the cooking I do is on the grill, and I don't have natural gas here uh, because everything is electric. So what I've got is one of those little portable charcoal grill things that I'm using. But unfortunately, they've been painting around here, uh, or at least threatening to paint around here for the last week or week and a half, and they basically got a bunch of masking tape all up over the gate to keep, when they're spraying the paint on the side of the house, to keep it from getting on the gate. Well, they basically taped my gate shut, so I can't even get into the backyard. I think probably what's going to happen though at some point is I'm going to just pull that down, because the truth is they aren't even really painting. They last time I really saw any activity of them painting was on Monday, and on Monday they put like warning, caution tape up along all the carports so nobody would park in there, and then they didn't. And then they didn't do any painting. And so like 3 or 4 days later, they haven't done any painting and the caution tape is still up. And I think 2 days ago, I just literally drove through it and said, you know what, you guys aren't painting. I'm just going to drive through it and park, because I'm done parking my car out in the, in the baking sun. It's no fun when you have to get into the, when you have to get into a car that's been sitting in the baking sun and it's like 150 degrees in there and it takes 20 minutes for the air conditioning to cool down. At least with the carport, it's keeping you in the shade. Did I get the paint off my door? I'm assuming you're talking about the glass door. When I saw it last night and kind of rubbed it a little bit with my finger, it comes off pretty easy. So I think if I get out there with a little Windex and a like a Brillo pad or something like that, I think I can probably scrape it off. It'll come off pretty easy. It's just, this is a perfect example. They bought a brand new pre-hung sliding glass door for me, and within 24 hours, the painting guys had paint all over it. Yeah, I don't think I'll need a razor blade, because it's just tiny little microscopic dots. It's just overspray more than anything else. They were just sloppy. And like I said, I think a Brillo pad and a little Windex will probably make quick work of it. Have I seen any dollars coming in? I was looking at the analytics on my page this morning, and for the first time, it gave me an actual number. I got about $8 coming to me. So, yeah, keep watching those ads, people. I actually do have a Patreon account right now. I really haven't made it official. Um, I don't want to. I don't want to get to the point where it looks like I'm just out for money. I mean, yeah, I guess in a way I am. I wouldn't mind if I could get to the point where I could support myself doing this. Because I mean, especially when I move into a house, if I'm to the point where I can, pay for all my expenses, then that will leave me a lot of time to work on the house. And you know, at that point, I'll probably be in better position to, make use of a Patreon account. But like I said, it's just an image right now that, I'm not really interested in pushing. Yeah. Um, it'll get to the point, I think, where I'll probably do that. But once I have a little more to contribute, in the form of like really literally fixing up a house, and maybe it'll make a little bit more sense. I do have one, and I'll attach it to the site eventually. Yeah, $8. I almost can get a whole tank of gas here. That's crazy. I have a 13-gallon tank on my car, and I routinely fill it up for about $30. So yeah, you do the math. It used to be 50 or $60 in California when I was paying $4.50 a gallon. So I really like the gas prices here. Hi, Maria. Yeah, I'm glad you guys enjoy watching them. I'm still trying to figure out exactly how I want to do all this, but you know, it's just figuring it out as we go along. I really do like Texas. I like the environment. I like the people. Yeah, the apartment is kind of a challenge, but the truth is, I knew that there were like some kind of sloppy things that they'd done around here when I moved in. I saw that when I walked in, but I figured, you know, I'd figured it out, and nothing here really seemed that bad. So, I mean, even that electrical thing I saw in the closet, it's stupid, but it's electrically sound. It's not going to start a fire. I have a pretty good idea what they're doing under there. You can, despite the fact that it's all taped up, it looks like they just wire nutted a couple wires together and then taped it up really solidly with electrical tape. It's not the code, but it's also not going to burst into flame. The reason they put wire inside the wall is because you got to account for the people that live here. If you have wire on the outside of the wall, someday somebody's going to bump something into that and it's going to break the insulation. If it's inside the wall, it's better. And additionally, usually I don't know what electrical code is in Texas, but but I would assume it's probably pretty the same because the physics of electricity, it's the same here as it is in California or anywhere else. And basically, one of the problems you run into is if you're running wire from point A to point B, it's better to have one continuous string of wire rather than several pieces of wire that are stripped together. Because what ends up happening is when you strip the wire together and connect it with a wire nut, you don't have the good connection between the wire, and that increases the resistance a little bit. And when you introduce resistance to a wire, that turns into heat. And if you get too much resistance, it can literally start a fire. So that's sort of the reason why they kind of insist, at least in California, on doing, you got to have one continuous piece of wire, no strapping the wire together or any of that. It's got to be one continuous piece of wire from the breaker box to wherever it's going. $3.33 a gallon in Vegas. That's still better than California, but I think I paid $2.19 or something. And that's a little bit more expensive than when I was here in January. In January, I think the most expensive gas I saw was $2.14. Most of it was $1.99. And I think on the day I left, when I filled up the rental car before I brought it back to the airport, I think it was $1.84 a gallon. So, oh yeah, $2.30 a liter. That's really bad because a liter is about a quarter of a gallon, and so you're looking at $7 or $8. But that's how it's always been in Europe. I remember when I was in college, I went and visited Spain, and gas was horribly expensive there too. It was more for a liter of gas, and we were paying for a gallon of gas. And that's where things really get weirded out because a liter, is a lot less than a gallon. And so you aren't even, even if the price seems comparable, you're getting less for your money. Wow, I have somebody from Turkey. That's amazing. I guess that's kind of in the area there. That's what is it like 9 or 9:30 there? Well, maybe 10. That's amazing. It's fun to see people coming in from that far away. The cats have done fine. I don't know if you were here a little while ago. Bite kind of came up and paid a visit for a little while, but I think he's gone back up to his room. It's nap time. Diesel is a little bit more expensive. I usually see them advertising at 40 or 50 cents more a gallon. So if I'm paying, $2.20 or something, it'll be like $2.70 for diesel. I guess in Turkey, it's the liter is $1.30 in U.S. dollars. I guess that makes sense though, because I think Turkey does a lot of their own oil drilling, right? All right, thanks for stopping in, Jenny. I'm glad you were able to stop in for this one. See you next time. Yeah, I know. That's sort of what I was hoping to do. I was hoping I'd get some more of our European friends to stop by and say hi. So, okay, I'm learning about the transition rates between U.S. dollars and the Turkish lira. I guess it's about a 1 to 6 ratio. Yeah, gas is really expensive. And I'm guessing it isn't necessarily the cost of the gas itself, it's just it's taxed so heavily. See, that was always the problem with California. On the side of the pump, there'd be a little sticker that says, yeah, this is how much you're paying for in federal taxes and state taxes. And then if you had the misfortune of living like in LA County, then there's also LA taxes. And so that was why gas is always so expensive there. You're paying 60 or 70 cents a gallon just to the state of California. What did I do at Disneyland? I used to work in the parades department over at California Adventure. I was a float driver. I did a vlog on that where I showed you a lot of the floats I drove. So you can go check that out. There was a lot of them. I can't say that I hated the job. I just didn't like the fact that there was no future there. The whole department, seemed to be focusing on mainly just promoting people who are performers. See, the parades department is made up of several different parts. Yet the people who are the performers that are in the costumes or walking along the parade route. Then there was people like us who were the float drivers and were in charge of all the backstage stuff. And then there was like the people who were in charge of costuming and the maintenance people. And unfortunately, the entire management team, is made up of people who used to be performers. And unfortunately, my department was called parade support. And when you hear the word support, all the performers, they already kind of naturally look down on you because they think, yeah, well, we're the ones that everyone's there to watch. And then when they see the word support, they just think of us as their assistants. And it's really hard to have respect for, it's really hard to have respect for people that you think are inferior to you. And unfortunately, when those same people go into management, they don't, they don't change that mentality. Yeah, under $2 a gallon would save me some money. Oh, that's right, I disconnected that. Yeah, and I'm not going to do any violence here. I don't know. That might have just been a stupid comment or something like that. Um, we'll wait and see. I just deleted his comment. If he comes back in and starts making more obnoxious comments, then we'll just block him. How much mileage does my car get? My car actually gets really, really good mileage. I get on good days. On a good tank of gas, if I'm driving long distance and not stopping a start, I can get up to 40 miles to the gallon. So was pods very expensive to use? Yes, they were. It was very pricey, but I had heard that there was a lot of problem like using rent U-Haul trucks to move because U-Haul has a problem. There's so many people moving out of California and moving to Texas that they have a problem that all their trucks are ending up in Texas. And so after going through that, they have to hire somebody to bring all the trucks back. If there's just normal kind of movement and, same number of people are moving to Texas that are moving to California, then it kind of all equalizes out. But if you're moving from California to Texas, they charge you so much more because, they're going to have to deal with getting that truck back. And there were a lot of advantages that came with the pods. I was really impressed with the idea because they just bring the pod out and drop it in your front yard. It makes it really convenient to do that because now all you got to do is load it up and then you call them and they pick it up. I love the idea. It's a great business plan. Sometimes their people just don't care. I had two kind of negative things go on with them, and and the people I talked to just weren't really interested in doing any more than just repeatedly saying they're sorry. It's like, yeah, I know that doesn't do me any good. The first time, the first problem I had with them was the day after Jordan and I left for our trip. We left on a Saturday, and on Sunday I called Pods and said, okay, I'm ready to have you move all 3 of my pods from California to Texas. And everything seemed to be going fine. And the guy said, yeah, no problem. We'll get that taken care of. And it'll take 9 days to get there. So I figured, okay, so, I'm due to arrive in Texas, I think on Friday, and I can live in the apartment for a couple of days, with, just an air mattress or something, and I'll be fine. Well, when I arrived, I looked it up on the website, and it looked to me like nothing had happened. So I ended up calling in, and after spending a whole bunch of time talking to the operator, they said, "Oh yeah, we do acknowledge that you sent a call, you called in to have a moved, but the guy who took the order forgot to save it, and so nothing happened. So all of a sudden now, instead of being 3 or 4 days away, I'm 10 days away from getting my stuff. And then when I did finally get it rescheduled, then the person who rescheduled it failed to realize that they don't work on Saturdays. And so they were supposed to deliver the thing on a Saturday. And like 2 days before it's due to arrive, I get a telephone call saying, yeah, we can't do it. It's because it's a Saturday and we don't work on Saturdays. And now since it's so late, we're not even going to be able to get it to you on Monday. It's going to be Tuesday before we can get it to you. And at that point, I went in, I started going onto their Facebook page and leaving a bunch of snotty comments for them. And eventually somebody replied back and says, hey, call me and, we'll deal with this directly. And I called the person and explained what was going on. And she says, yeah, that doesn't sound good. We'll take care of any of your expenses, within reason. We'll pay for your air mattress. We'll pay for your food and all that. And we'll go from there. And so, we started going with that. And at that point, I started talking. It's like, okay, so what are we going to do about all this? It's going to take more than, because you guys admitted to your mistake. So what are you going to do about this? And their answer was, well, we don't have a policy of, paying for, it isn't in our contract that we pay for mistakes that we made. And it's like, I'm thinking to myself, yeah, of course it isn't. You're the one that wrote the contract, and I have to go with the contract in order to, to do business with you. I didn't write the contract. If I did, there would be a stipulation that if you're late, you pay. But when you guys write the contract and I have no say in what the contract says, I either accept it or don't accept it, of course you're not going to write anything into it that holds you responsible. So in the end, it's going to cost what I wanted them to do. And they basically just laughed at me. And I said, in normal businesses, if there's a contract where something's done by a certain time, if it's late, there's a fine for every day it's late. And so I proposed a 1% off the total bill for every day it was late. Well, it was late 12 days. So that would, that's still just, that's not even, that's a 12% discount. I'm paying more than $10,000 to have all this done. So 12% is nothing. 10% of $10,000 is $1,000. Well, that's going to cost them a lot more, because the second they just stop talking or stop being receptive to me, I just said, okay, fine. I'm just going to break off all contact with you guys. If you'd stuck with me, if you'd done, given me something to compensate for the fact that you guys made a mistake and you acknowledged that you made a mistake, it would have only cost you maybe $1,200 or $1,400. Now it's going to cost you a lot more, because my original plans were I only needed one pod, the third pod, to fill my apartment and to give me everything I needed. And I was going to have you guys hold on to the remaining 2 pods until I moved into a house. Well, that's $500 a month of rent that they lost. So, you know what? They lost way more money by having me basically vacate and move everything into a storage locker. And that was a better move anyway, because the storage locker is like $130 a month. and it's going to, I think in the end of the day, it'll hold everything from the 3 pods. So I'm saving a lot of money doing that. And if I need it, it's a lot easier. I don't have to drive, 40 miles to go get to my pod. The storage locker is literally walking distance from me. So, you know, they just really blew it. I think they got a really great business plan, and their way of doing things is really great. I love the idea of them dropping, the pod right in your front yard. It makes it so much easier to load it and unload it. And, the way they pick it up and put it on the truck and take it off the truck, I showed that in one of my vlogs. That was a really, really good idea. And I love the concept, but unfortunately, they've got some people there that don't care or are just very careless. And then they get some people in their customer service department that, don't really want to do anything to make anything, to make things right. So I don't know. I've rambled along about that. Yeah, that's what I think it is. It's poor management. Like I said, it's a great idea. It's the same with Disney. Disney's a great idea. It's just their people, let their power go to their head. And yeah, I guess I've heard that about San Francisco, that there's like no, that's the whole problem with California, because California is losing population like crazy. And states like, Nevada and Texas and Florida and all that, they're picking up population. So California hates those other states, especially U-Haul, because, all their trucks end up going to those states, and then they got to figure out how to get them back. That's why it's so expensive to move from California to certain other states. Am I getting more fish? I don't know. Probably not at this point. If there's like a natural pond or something on my property when I get one, maybe we'll do that. It might be fun to have my own little fishing pond, but I don't know if I'm going to do the goldfish route again. One of the things that I ran into with the fish pond in California is it was a lot of maintenance. You're spending all the time, putting chemicals in there and cleaning the stuff out, and you had to drain it every couple of years and repaint the surface because the paint eventually peels off and all that. It was just a lot of work. So yeah, I haven't heard about Ohio being having the same kind of problem. It may be to a certain level, but I'm guessing it isn't probably as bad as like California is. California is just kind of going crazy. And, yeah, I was hoping the fish would be easier to take care of, but in outdoor pond, it's really hard to deal with that, because when you have the sun blasting into the pond all the time, you get a lot of algae, and that builds up really fast. And so you're always in there kind of scraping it off, and yeah, it's no fun. The apartment does have a pool. I haven't actually been inside of it. It actually looks pretty nice. Yeah, California is kind of an example of what happens when you have one party rule. When they know that they have like a super majority and control everything, um, you know, there isn't really any interest at that point to really do anything to help the people, because they've already got 100% of the vote. How are my pets? Bite and Nibble are doing fine. Bite was down here visiting a little while ago, but he's gone up to his room right now. Flash is still hanging out in California with my parents. They didn't want anything to do with the cats, but you know, Flash is a very low maintenance pet, and she lives out in the backyard, so they were more than willing to take on Flash. I'm hoping to maybe get some more photos or something from my father. He's been kind of taking care of Flash. Flash loves like fruit and fresh fruit and vegetables. So they've been kind of spoiling her. From I hear her face is getting stained red because of all the strawberries they're feeding her. So Flash is doing well. Bite and Nibble are doing good. They're up taking their nap right now. Really had to get a little upset with Bite this morning. About 3 in the morning, right outside my door, I heard the as they're trying to push out a hairball or whatever. And of course, like 80% of this apartment has like a laminate flooring, but where's the one place that Bite or Nibble or whoever it was decided to hack up a hairball? It's got to be on the stairs where there's carpet. And can't do it on one stair. No, you got to do a little on this stair, a little on this stair, a lot on that stair, a whole bunch on the landing. So, yeah, that was kind of a mess. Guess I should know that by now. That that's what I get when I let them have run of the house at night. Yeah, the walking stick. I told the story about this on one of my first vlogs, and I'll tell you the story right now. One of my neighbors who lived across the street from me, made me this. She specifically knew that I was a rather tall person, so she made me a really long one, and it's got a nice nice handle for it. Got a little foot pad on the bottom of it, and she called these wisdom beads, and when they kind of jiggle together, they supposedly create the impression of the sound of rain. So I was really cool. I decided, yeah, we're going to put that in the shop here, because that was just a really, really friendly, really generous gift that she gave me, and I really, really liked that. So that was very, very cool. Yeah, I think that's a big thing with cats. I mean, I guess I should have known that was going to be an issue. Hairballs are generally an issue when you get into the summer. When it starts getting warm, then they start shedding their winter coat, and when they're cleaning themselves, they end up swallowing a bunch of their hair, and then it's got to come up. And so, yeah, that's always just been uh, the something I always face around this time. Cactus is not blooming at the moment. I don't see any blooms on it, but that's something it kind of does at a certain time of the year, and we may be kind of past that. It may also be dealing with the fact that it's kind of dealing with a different environment here. It's a warmer and it's more humid here than it was in California. Yes, it does seem a lot more conservative in Waco. You still see, your occasional, uh, you know, bumper stickers for some, liberal politician. There's a bunch of people that really like Beto here. So, you see that all the time. But, you know, you see a lot more American flags. You see a lot more people, expressing their patriotism. And, that's, like I said, I kind of feel the same way. I love my country, warts and all. And, whatever problems there are, we work on them, and it's still a better place than any other place. There's no other place I'd want to live. So, yeah, I know. I probably should have gotten up right then and there and scared whichever one of them it was downstairs. But it's you're trying to sleep and you hear the, it's like, I don't need that. And I was really hoping they do it at the top of the stairs where it's at least a laminate flooring, or they do it in their own room where it's laminate flooring. The only place in the entire apartment where there's carpet is on the stairs. So, that's where they go. Do I have a small garden where I am? No, not really. I have, I have those palm trees and the cactus and the maple and a couple of plumeria that, I brought with me. And that's right now kind of the extent of my garden. In fact, I was mentioning a little earlier that when they were painting the apartment, they taped the gate closed that goes into my backyard. and it's been closed now for 5 or 6 days. So I think I got to get back there and maybe water all that stuff. So I think I'm going to tear the paper down and get in there and feed the plants because I think they need that. I'm looking forward to the 4th of July. That's one of the great things about California or about Texas is they're a lot more open with the fireworks. I mean, I understand California's concern. There's so much. It's so easy to start fires there that you know they pretty much like a lot of places just ban fireworks outright. They aren't quite that way here. In fact, you drive all over Texas. There's like big warehouses of fireworks factories uh, that they sell. And I noticed that there's one here just a couple miles away in Waco that I'll probably be visiting pretty soon. They're not open all year round like some places. I remember I spent a summer in Huntsville, Alabama, a number of years ago, and I found then that the fireworks factories were open all year round, and so you were always able to buy fireworks. They're only open the 10 days before the 4th of July and the 10 days before New Year's Eve, but we're getting close to that. And the truth is that you can get things like bottle rockets and mortars and stuff like that that's just completely illegal in California. So I look forward to that. Yeah, if I do it may be me doing a fireworks show. I'm gonna have to talk to the landlord, see, what their policy is on that. It seems like if I did it like way out in the parking lot in the back or something like that, I could probably do it pretty safely. But I'll talk to the landlord and see what they think. Okay, 4th of July, that's our Independence Day. And in America, we celebrate that by, well, one of the jokes I always heard is, come celebrate the birth of your nation by blowing up a small part of it. So that's kind of the definition. We just celebrate with fireworks. And California has too many problems with fire, with like brush fires and stuff like that. There's too many things that burn. Yeah, see, that's what I thought. I'm seeing somebody saying here that you can't have them inside the city limits, but we'll figure something out. Like I said, I'm sure the landlord will know, and I would bet you that the people who sell them will be able to tell me where I can and can't do it too. One of my favorite things was piccolo peeps. It's a little thing. It's about the diameter of your finger, about that long, and you light it and goes, loud, shrill noise, and it burns out in a few seconds. Well, I always at the time I started playing with those a lot. I was also a recording engineer, and I knew something called beat frequencies, and I'm not going to go into detail on that. But it occurred to me that if I set off two piccolo peeps at once, it was going to be way more shrill because you're going to get the beat frequencies in there. And so, I started taping two of them together and then four of them together. And eventually at one point I had 25 of them attached. And then I think I did like 150 and then 256 and then 400 and then 600. And at one point I did like more than 1,000. I had a bundle of piccolo peeps. It was like this big around. And I set that one off in California one year. Got a video of it. Maybe I'll post it someday. And basically, the whole thing goes off at once. It's the most loud, obnoxious, smoky thing that you can do, and it shoots flames, about 12 feet in the air. So yeah, that was really cool. It was $800 to buy all those piccolo peeps, and it all burned up in about 30 seconds. But it was worth it. It was the highlight of the whole block. It was a big block party where I lit it off, and I had the whole block, applauding when it was over. So yeah, you can also pinch them and they'll explode. That's kind of fun too. but it also can be a little bit dangerous. Yeah, I've seen people, like lay on, take the base off them, laying on their sides, and they like shoot across the ground like a rocket. Yeah, like I said, I meant to figure out what the specific rules are about that, but about fireworks in the city. But it doesn't surprise me that they might put limits on at least certain things. Maybe if you have like fountains and stuff like that aren't going to give you the risk of landing something on the roof or something like that. It might be a different issue. I've always been a bit of a pyromaniac when it comes to fireworks. I remember when I was a kid, and the only thing my parents would let me do anything with were those little sparklers. Yeah, I ended up lighting a tree on fire with that. So, that's just me. Yeah, probably sounds like not maybe the best idea in the world to pull the stick off of a bottle rocket and light it, but I can understand the appeal. Yeah, see, that's a lot of times what happens when you end up with fireworks is somebody does something stupid and it ruins it for everyone. Unfortunately, that's how a lot of this world works. You know, get a program for the lowest common denominator. That's why you don't put wires outside the walls because you get some stupid person who'll lean something against it and then you start a fire. I was thinking last night what I might end up doing for Halloween this year. Might be kind of fun. I've already some of the Halloween stuff came off the second pod, so I already have a few things, and I think I could probably like turn my little postage stamp of a backyard into a little mini haunted house. Probably won't be as big as what I did in California, but I could pull out the tombstones and the skeleton and the black light and a couple strobe lights. It might be kind of fun. Have I eaten out much lately? Not so much lately now that I kind of have, my refrigerator and my pots and pans. I didn't eat out a whole lot in California. I prefer just to kind of cook my own stuff. Uh, and yeah, see, yeah, that's what I usually do for Halloween, and is what Jordan vlogged last year, and that was a lot of fun. I kind of do the same thing with Christmas too. I always had more Christmas lights on my house, and I love the fact that I kind of seem to be inspiring my neighbors to do more because I had a two-story house in California, and all of the houses in the community were two-story houses. But for the longest time, I was the only person in the entire community that put lights up actually on the second level of the house. Most people that did put lights up, it was just on the lower level. Uh, but in the last couple of years, I've noticed that people started doing that. In fact, last year, uh, two houses on one side of me and the house next door to me, so four houses in a row, all had lights on the upper level. So it looked really nice. The whole block was really nice. I was pleased that people were kind of inspired and started copying me on that. I have seen fireworks launched over water. When I worked at Disneyland for a long time, I was working a show called Phantasmic, And if you know the Disneyland area, that took place in the Rivers of America, which is the area that surrounds Thomas Sawyer Island. And after the first show, I would always go up onto the top deck of the Mark Twain paddle boat and watch the fireworks from there. And that was fun because that was really cool because one, there was nobody else there, and two, it was as close as you could get to the fireworks without being in the lockdown area. And so I love doing that. Yeah, I used to work Phantasmic. I would drive some of the vehicles on that show. Yeah, Halloween and Christmas, those are my two favorite holidays for decorating. And, I always kind of went overboard. Yeah, California, most of California was anti-fireworks too. It wasn't the whole state, but most of this, it was all kind of left to on a city by city basis. And I think for the most part, most of the cities, with a couple of exceptions, I think Anaheim was an exception, Garden Grove was an exception, but for the most part, most of the state just banned them outright. And even like Garden Grove and Anaheim and Santa Ana and those areas where they did allow them, it was only the safe and sane stuff. And the safe and sane has gotten really boring in the last few years. You used to be able to get fireworks that would shoot fountains, 12 feet in the air, and now the best ones you get, shoot at 4 feet in the air, and people have to get around it by putting a ladder out in the front yard and setting a firework on top of the ladder just so you get a little altitude from it. But yeah, I know more than 100 minutes. You know, the first one of these live streams I did, I went for about an hour, and then the last couple I've done have been more than 2 hours, so or about 2 hours, and that's I think what I'm going to kind of do. That's kind of when people start kind of, you know, everybody who's going to watch has seen what has gotten a chance to ask their question, and things start petering off at that point. Yeah, 137 people right now, 135 right now. I saw it as high as 160 a little while ago. So, all right, Scott Madden, here's your shout out. Thanks for stopping in here in there in New York. Yeah, I do Christmas decorations too. I used to if you remember from Jordan's vlogs, I have a most of my yard is in the backyard behind a lock gate. So I used to have like a lot of inflatable things that I would do in the backyard, but unfortunately nobody would ever see them because they were in the backyard. And so I kind of stopped doing that a couple of years ago. Who knows? Maybe if I actually have a front yard, um, maybe those things will come out again. But a lot of those, I retired a lot of those inflatable things. In fact, they went over to Kenny Irwin. If you remember Jordan's vlogs on Robo Lights, Kenny had to move. We can't do them in his house anymore because the city of Palm Springs has said, yeah, no moss. So he's going to get like some property and start doing his own thing. He's going to make his own version of Disneyland. So right before we left, when we went and did the Vegas trip, we Jordan and I stopped by there, and I brought a whole bunch of like Christmas decorations that I wasn't using anymore, and we gave them to him. I also had a whole bunch of laser discs that I gave to him. Do I use Android or Apple? I'm an Android person. In fact, my last cell phone went dead on me. My Galaxy S7, so I got the brand new Galaxy S10. I've been filming on that in the last week or so. I actually like it a little bit better than the previous one. The color is a little better. The lighting is a little better. It does better in dark light than the previous phones do. All right. See you, nurse calls. Hope you feel better. No, no girlfriend at this point. Yeah, like we need to tell a nurse how to take care of herself when she's sick. Remember some chicken noodle soup. I've heard that works. What software do I use for editing? I used the Nero video package. I use Nero for burning my discs, and it comes with a really fantastic video editor. And I've been using it for years, and it's really easy to use, and you can do all sorts of really cool things. In fact, I'm learning new things about it, you know, as I go along. And in fact, some of the things, that the whole that's not how it's done. I had to figure out how to do that, how to insert laugh tracks into it. I figured it was possible, but it took a little while to figure it out. But the program is really powerful and really flexible, and it's really affordable too. I think the full blown platinum Nero package, I think I got for less than $100, and that $100, that's worth it just for the video editor itself. It's got all sorts of good other things. It's got a streaming program and obviously the ability to burn discs and all sorts of great stuff. So I'm a huge fan of that. I've been using Nero for a long time. It's a great program, and it keeps getting better. Yeah, Jordan does everything on his phone. I think primarily because he doesn't really have a good computer. He keeps up on his phones, but he's not as much of the computer person as I am. So, I kind of look to the computer for doing a lot of this stuff. And so, it's a lot easier. I sit there and watch him, working on his phone, doing his editing and like clipping things, editing his clips and stuff like that. And, it just, it seems a little too confusing. It's too small of a package. I like the fact that I have a big screen and I can see all the tools nice and clear. And it's probably due to the fact that I need glasses to read anyway. So anything I can do to make it easier to see with these bad eyes, it helps with the situation. Any micro centers? We had one in California. I haven't seen one here. I've also been looking for like a Fry's Electronics, and there isn't one close by here. I used to, get all sorts of stuff at Fry's. So I'm kind of stuck with if I need electronics, I got to go to either Walmart, which generally doesn't have a very good selection, or I have to go to Best Buy and deal with the fact that you're going to have to machete your way through all the salespeople because every one of them wants to help you find something. I wish they'd have like some person in the front of the store that would enforce I just want to be left alone, kind of thing. Because it's bad, there isn't even communication between departments. So you go from one department to the next, and after you told the guy in this department, no, I'm just looking, now you get this guy looking at you. And then you go into a next department, and it's really, it's too much. I don't really like going to Best Buy for that reason. It's just, when I go in there, if I have a question, I'll go to them. But for the most part, when I go in, I want to look, I want to do my research, and I want to just be left alone. I'm using an HP laptop right now. I got this one for Christmas this year, and in fact, I got it because my old HP laptop, which I've had for 5 or 6 years, is starting to get old, and I knew that I was going to need a new one, and I had the opportunity to get it at that point, so I got one and basically just put it away in the closet for a few months and didn't really begin pulling it out until I started getting close to moving away. The old one was just becoming slow, and it was subject to crashes and stuff like that. And since I did most of my video editing on my desktop, and the desktop was going to be taken apart for the move, I knew that I had to get a laptop that I could do that. So we got a new laptop, and this one just got kind of pulled into operations just about a month or a month and a half ago. Now it's being used all the time. All the videos I did when we were on the road trip were done on the laptop, because while I brought the desktop with me, it was in little parts, and I didn't want to have to assemble it every day. So, do I have any tats? No tats. I'm not against the idea it's just, I've never really thought of anything that I can say, yeah, definitely, that's going to be important to me for the rest of my life. And I look at things that were really important to me, uh, 10, 15, 20 years ago. And I was like, yeah, I'm glad I didn't get a tattoo on that. It reminds me of a joke on The Simpsons where they were talking about tattoos, and Homer, somebody asked Homer about a tattoo, and he says, oh yeah, tattoos, they help you remember the things that are important to you. And then he pulls up his sleeve and he's got a Dexy's Midnight Runner tattoo. And he looks at it and says, Dexy's Midnight Runner, they suck. So, yeah, I mean, that's kind of my take on it. I'm not against getting one. It's just never found anything that I can say, yeah, that's going to be important to me for the rest of my life. Maybe if I'd served in the military, then that'd be something that, I'd want to remember and commemorate. Or if I'd been a part of something really important, then, that might be. But at this point, what's important to me now might not be important to me in 10 years. What was important to me 20 years ago isn't important to me now. So, I don't know. If I find something, I'll open my mind to it, but not so far. I used to be a trainer when I worked at Disneyland. I'd train new employees how to do the job when they come in. And generally, I'm not much of a talker. So when I do, when I spend a lot of time talking there, I'd end up with a sore throat. I'm getting a little bit of one now. Yeah, it isn't really the issue with needles on tattoos. Like I said, it's just I haven't been able to find something that I'd want to stick with, for the rest of my life. And I mean, I see, yeah, somebody here's got a picture of their daughter or has their daughter's name and their mother is an angel. Okay, yeah, I can see that. But I don't have a daughter and I haven't lost either of my parents. So, I'm not going to say I like needles. I just don't have an overwhelming fear of them. No, at this point, I don't know. I'll probably not go to Disneyland again. Even when I was even when I worked there, and I had the free pass that would enable me to get in anytime I want. I didn't go a whole lot. Every year they gave me, I had a little main entrance guest card that would enable me to 16 times a year sign in up to three friends a day and get them park hopper passes. And I don't think in the entire time I had that I used all of my passes. It just, you know, when I the first summer I worked there, I just really kind of burned myself out on it because I'd go to Disneyland 3 or 4 nights a week, and at that point, you've seen it all, and it gets old after a while. So at the end, I think the only reason I ever went to Disneyland is when Jordan wanted to go. I wouldn't say that it's trashy. It's a nice place. Uh, it's great if you want to bring a family in and spend some time in it. My issue with them was just the management doesn't care about their people, and so I don't want to rag on the company. In fact, I've had people say that I should do some behind the scenes vlogs on Disney. It's like I don't really want to do that. I could do it, and tell you all the secrets. But one of the things that makes Disney kind of a nice place is that a lot of people don't really know how all that stuff is done. And it kind of remains more interesting and more magical, if you will, if you don't know how it's done. Now, in my case, that was never the issue. Yeah, okay. Another troll. Bye bye, troll. That was my issue. I don't have a problem with Disney. In my case, I never really saw Disney. Even when I was a kid, I never saw Disney as a magical place because I was always trying to figure out how they did things. I'd watch a parade and I'd say, okay, I wonder where the driver sits. Oh, I bet you they're right there. Yeah, I can see the kind of screen there that they see through. Or how is it they do the ghosts in the haunted mansion? Oh yeah, okay, it's like it's done with mirrors and reflections and stuff like that. So yeah, just I don't want to ruin the magic, and so there isn't going to be any of that from me. My issue is with the people, not with the company. Have I visited Hawaii? Yes, I have a friend that lives in Hawaii. And I've been there a number of times. I love the geology of that. I've primarily been on the Big Island because that's where my friend lives. He lives in Kona, and a lot of great geology there. Went over to the volcano. It's been, I guess it's slowing down now, but about a year ago it was erupting and there was a lot of expansion going on. I went there like 10 years ago or further back, but that volcano was still erupting, and so we walk out onto the lava flows to see the lava flowing into the lava tubes and stuff like that. And spent a lot of time and walking around and checking out the lava tubes. It was a lot of fun. It's a beautiful place. Even in the areas where it's just all volcanic lava, that's just hard and it's all black. It's still really cool to look at that and to think about that. Favorite actor or musician? It depends. I don't know if I really like specific actors. I guess if I had to pick a favorite actor, it'd be like Bill Murray. Just everything I've ever seen him in, he's just just amazingly funny guy. And you know, really, really great, really talented. He can do all sorts of things. Have I ever been to Disney World in Florida? Once I did. When I was working at the CD factory, I was asked to speak at a conference that was in Orlando, and once we were there for a week or 10 days, and the conference only went for 1 or 2 days. So I did some sightseeing. I went out to Cape Canaveral and checked that out one day, and went to Disney World another day. Didn't really get to spend a whole bunch of time there, and didn't see anywhere near all of it, but it was fun to do. I've been there. Yeah, I mean Bill Murray. I mean, I see him. You watch him like in Ed Wood. He was fantastic as Bunny Breckenridge. He was really great. He played that role and wasn't even really that much of a humorous role. It was a very serious role for him, and he did it really well. So, and I mean, like I said, everything from Ghostbusters to everything else. He had a little cameo in Little Shop of Horrors, and just everything you see him in, he's just really good. Well, I do have one of those clip-on mounts that use the suction cup to attach to the windshield, and I've used that a little bit in my vlogs. I am a little reluctant to show the area right around where I live, just because some of these trolls here, you get one troll that finds out where you live, and all of a sudden they're at your front door. So I'm a little reluctant to do too much of that, and that's why you're not going to see a whole bunch of videos, outside in and around my complex. And that's why I'm going to play it really quiet when I get a job, because one of these trolls, he went after Carpetbagger and tried to get him fired. And that was actually the reason that Jordan was a little reluctant to, be more open about what was going on here on my vlog, and share it with his fans, because he knew this one troll was out there. And no, I'm not being paranoid. This is real. I've had to slay a couple of trolls here just today, and you know, I've seen firsthand what they do to him, and I just don't want any of that. I don't need somebody coming up in my work and trying to get me fired or something like that. They love doing that kind of stuff. Yeah, Bill Murray was great in Caddyshack too. That was another great one. Wow, we're over 2 hours. That's crazy, huh? Well, any more than zero is too many crazy people out there. I do acknowledge that 99.99% of you are great people, and I wouldn't mind inviting you over to this place. But unfortunately, it's that 0.001% that you got to worry about. Yeah, what was it that Kurt Cobain said about being paranoid? Just because you're paranoid doesn't mean they're not after you. Yeah, I mean that seems to be a big issue with YouTuber. I guess on some level I should be flattered that I've risen to the level that I'm attracting trolls now. Because I mean, when I had 100 subscribers and was getting an average of 20 views per video, nobody would have been interested in that. So yeah, you're right. I think that is. I think that's the one troll that Jordan was warning me about too. That was calling people and trying to get them fired. So sorry, Anthony, you're not that important. Chats have gone away now, so I think I can reconnect the mouse. I keep every time I want to kill a troll, I keep reaching for the mouse and I move it and it isn't there. So I got the mouse back on now. Yeah, Anthony's blocked. I've had to block him on the channel too. I don't know how it works with these because I thought Jordan blocked him when he was here a couple days ago and I made him the moderator. So I don't know. Maybe every time a new chat comes up, it's all of the old blocks get thrown out the window or something. I don't know. We'll see. It may just be that this is more than one of his. It must be another one of these cases where he has another user ID or something like that. Jordan thinks he has about 40 of them. How pathetic is that you create 40 YouTube channels just so that you can go attack people because they're more successful than you are? Sad. Yeah, I don't really want to talk about him anymore. He's just an idiot. He's gone. Movie genres. I like sci-fi. I like action. I like comedies. Some dramas. I love documentaries. No, I understand why they do it. They have pathetic, meaningless lives, and rather than doing something to help them build up themselves, they'd rather tear other people down. That's how they make themselves feel important. My parents seem to be doing fine with the move. My mom had a little difficulty right at the beginning, but I think she came to realize that this is something I needed to do, and I believe that that they're kind of getting their daily fix of me because I think they're watching my videos. So because I would think that they'd be calling me a lot more often just to kind of catch up. But when they watch my videos, they kind of know what's going on in my life every day. So My father, I guess, had a little issue with it too, but he dealt with it and became very supportive almost immediately. My mom did too. Like I said, she just, I think it was that maternal instinct kicking in, and the fact that I'm the last of her kids to leave the nest. No, I didn't bring. Yeah, a couple people commented down on that in the comments that they noticed that I had the cat trees in the locker and wondered why I didn't bring them home for the cats. The truth is, the cats never really liked them. Uh, Bite would occasionally sleep on one of them, but Nibble, you know, she was mainly looking for a place to get away from people. And in her room, what I had is I had a series of shelves all over the place for them specifically, where Nibble could get like 8 feet off the ground, and she spent most of her time on there. And so, if I was going to do something, what I'd have to do is reinstall those shelves, and I don't think I want to do that here at this place. I don't want to do anything that's going to you know have these maintenance guys have to come in and fix it at some time. They got enough problems on their hands. Monty Python, yes, love Monty Python. Um, In fact, when at one point, I think on one of Jordan's live streams, somebody brought up Monty Python, and he'd never really watched any of them, and everyone was kind of throwing in their comments on which ones he should watch first. And I had the three movies, which is what Life of Brian, Meaning of Life, Holy Grail, and also that the fourth one, and now for something completely different. And so I loaned him all four of those. I don't know if he watched them or not. British humor is, kind of an acquired taste. I think that a lot of people say I have a very dry humor, and I think I got that from watching Monty Python and British humor. Yeah, my parents have said they do want to come and visit me. I don't know if they'll want to come to this place though. I think they'll probably wait until after I get a house. Yeah, killer rabbit. That's awesome. Oh, it's just a little rabbit. Yeah, but ever watched Blackadder? No, I've never even heard of it. I tried to get into Breaking Bad. I don't know. Maybe if I stuck with it longer, I would have. I didn't make it through the first episode. So I don't know. Everyone talks about it. But a lot of times, TV shows that are really really popular with people. I try and I just don't get into. When there was that TV show Lost about the airplane that crashed in the desert or in a deserted tropical island, and they were all stranded there. I made it into a season two on that, but just lost interest. I don't know. I just haven't. I guess I don't really watch a lot of TV anymore. Yeah, this whole vlog, this whole live stream was really for my friends in Europe, because in the past all of the live streams I've been doing at 7 o'clock here, and so best case scenario that's 1 o'clock in the morning in the UK, and the further east you move, it gets later. So you know I wanted to do something a little earlier, and I started this one about noon. We've been going for about 2 hours now, and got a lot of people from the UK stopping in, so that was great. This was definitely a success. I'm happy I did this, and I'm thinking I may do another one at some point geared towards, because there's another kind of cluster of fans that are watching in Australia and New Zealand, and so I might end up doing like an early, like get up early in the morning and do one, so that the viewers from Australia and New Zealand, and I have some fans like that are watching in like Asia too, and it seems to me those are all kind of in the same time zone. So I might do one at another point. I think Jordan and I went to the Burbank Fries once. I think he vlogged. I think that was the Burbank one. I don't remember. It was kind of cool. Fries kind of all decorates their places different. They have like a theme. The one near me had like a space shuttle theme. So they had like mission patches on the walls, and they had a space shuttle mock up inside there, and all sorts of stuff. So I always loved going to Fry's, if no for no other reason than just to look at the great stuff, the great decorations they had. Sarah Bell, all right, from North Yorkshire, England. I'm glad a bunch of my European friends stopped in because I've been meaning to do this for a while. Have I ever been to New York? I mentioned earlier that I had gone to Spain at one point, and when we flew to Spain, I flew through New York and spent the night there. But basically, I was just in a hotel and I didn't do any sightseeing. So, no, not really. I haven't been in New York, not in any real way. Thanks, Jenna. That's nice of you to say that. I've kind of been watching where it is that my viewers are coming from, and like I said, about 80% of my viewers are in North America, and so it makes sense that a lot of my live streams are going to be geared for that. But there's two other clusters of fans, and one is in Europe, and one is in Australia and Asia. So I gotta you know you know, give everyone a little bit of a chance because a lot of people like doing these live streams. They like to participate. They like to come in and ask questions and something like that. So, you know, yeah. See, there's someone from Canada, but then right afterwards there's the Netherlands. So that's coming in. That's coming in right now. This live stream is for you guys. I've heard everyone talking about the Magnolia place. I do want to go check it out, but I have not done that yet. What kind of work am I looking for? Basically, something that's interesting and pays well. I don't know. I'm not. I've been really lucky my whole life. I've always had jobs that I love doing, and so maybe I'm a little spoiled on that front. I want to have a job that I'll have fun with. Um, so, I worked at a vet when I was in college. I worked at a medical lab when I was in college. I spent a whole bunch of time working in the compact disc industry. And then I worked at Disneyland. So, it's jobs that I've loved doing. And that's what makes it easy to go to work every day if you like what you do. Uh, Disney, the problem with Disney is there were a lot of places I could transfer to, other departments I could transfer into that would pay more, but unfortunately, the good jobs were all union jobs, and I'm not really a union person. I've never really had a lot of respect for unions. Uh, I guess I don't like the idea where uh, one company has, one side of any part of the equation um, has too much power. And people might say, well, the company has too much power. It's like, yeah, but the company can't force you to work for them. You don't like it, you can leave. But if you have a union, the union can shut down your company if they don't agree with you, and there's nothing you can do about it. In many cases, it's illegal to do anything about it. So I don't know. I think unions just have a little too much power, and they need to be knocked down a couple pegs. I like the idea of unions. They've done good things for the country, but it isn't really that way anymore. So it looks like everyone's kind of winding down here. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to end this live stream now because I still got to do a vlog for today. Um, and So I appreciate you all for stopping in and saying hi, and I will see you next time. Have a good night. See ya.